an indigenous American. Which country in America? Just like you can't say I'm an Aboriginal and indigenous African. From which part in Africa are you from?
So I will say the Republic of Kenya.
Yeah, so you say I'm Kenyan. You wouldn't say I'm Aboriginal and indigenous African, you would say I'm Kenyan. And since the people of Kenya are Aboriginal and indigenous to Africa, you already qualify.
You.
What about Jamaican? Does that count?
Jamaican?
I would say.
Like Jamaican American?
I would say.
Okay, do Jamaicans have their independence?
Allegedly.
Allegedly.
From
Now, why are you saying
Queens.
allegedly?
Because it's not independence.
Why are you saying that?
Because when you to get independence, you just got to get back everything that's yours.
Mm-hmm.
They didn't. The
Also,
Queen kept the gold and just cut us off.
who's the prime minister?
Who over here did?
Who's the prime minister of Jamaica? What's his nationality?
Well,
He got pale skin or dark skin?
who is it?
His name is Andrew Holiness.
What is his?
Andrew Holiness.
What is his nationality?
Jamaican.
Is he more or is he pale skin?
Yeah, he's a more.
Yeah, he's swarthy. That's the thing with Jamaica. A lot of them have been swarthy men, but they're just.
Now, are there
in
pale
mind.
skinned people within government of Jamaica? So that's not a national government.
Right.
Because within a national government, only the nationals can be part of the government. That's why it's called a national government. But the nation can have different citizens of different nationalities who get to vote, but you can't be in office. Because it ain't your land. You get it?
Mhm.
That's the difference between a federal government and a national one. Right? So now, for the camera, we're talking about what is the United States? So camera woman, if you want to put the camera on the board,
Which-
not me.
Which one is higher,
What?
the federal or the national?
It depends. On what the,
Sorry, can we hold on a second so we can
yeah.
set this up? Thank you.
So it depends on what the people agree to.
You can't. It says rotate it back. Should I put it on some books or?
Let me make it straight.
Can't be landscape.
It says no.
That's better.
All right.
It's only 50 stars in the front?
What?
It's only 50 stars in the front?
Yeah. Yeah.
They just recently just added.
Huh?
50?
I don't think Puerto Rico's added. Puerto Rico is considered a territory of the United States, but not a state within the United States. Huh?
As a sovereign nation.
What?
That's for the reason.
No, Puerto Rico's not a sovereign nation. Puerto Rico's not even the name of the land or the people.
Yeah, it's still under the territory.
Yeah, it's under the administrative control of the United States.
The United States.
Yes.
But I always wanna know what is the reason they have municipality in 1933 when they took over from all agricultures, that they did a contract. I would like to be able to see a contract in between, because like when it comes down, in my opinion, and I did a little bit of research into it, we just still talking about the flag and the 50 states and all that stuff, but Puerto Rico, the only thing they did, it was to be able to get goods in commerce, like
Yeah.
that's what United States always
Yeah.
like to be able to do, to
Mhm.
be able to bully and
Yeah.
try to take over everything that they want. But
Yeah.
in a sense of they took all agriculture from Puerto Rico,
Mm-hmm.
with giving them something, substance from substance,
Yeah.
to be able to make it more of a lawful way to be able
Yeah.
to say. And they give municipality, that's pretty much what it is, what they give them,
Yeah.
right? And to be able to be proper.
It's the appearance of sovereignty, but it's not sovereignty.
Okay.
Same thing in Jamaica.
Yeah, I was just about to say that. Pretty much the same thing.
Same thing in so-called DR. It's the appearance of sovereignty and not sovereignty. And when you compare those different territories to Cuba, you see that Cuba nationalized their land. The people of Cuba,
Cuba.
yes, the Cubans, under the leadership of Fidel Castro, nationalized the land of Cuba. Meaning they said these are our resources.
Mm-hmm.
So no, you're not going to just administrate them for us and then give us a piece.
They literally
These are
cut
ours.
the U.S. off
Yeah,
from import and export.
yeah.
And allegedly, the U.S. wants to go in there for Tupac's money.
Over his aunt, right?
His aunt, yeah, son, she's over there.
So Cuba would be an example of
No,
a sovereign state, not Dominican Republic,
or Jamaica.
not Jamaica, not so-called Puerto Rico. Those are not sovereign states. Those are Moors who are under the political control of the United States.
Mhm.
And if you study most South American countries, you'll see that the United States, the Europeans, acting as Americans on our land, were involved in a political coup of that country. You know what a political coup is? That's okay. Now let's pretend we're all Cubans in here, right? And you're running for the president or prime minister of Cuba. And we're all rallying behind you because you stand for our people. You say, you know, the land belongs to us. The commerce belongs to us. But then the United States comes in and says, you're going to counteract him and we're going to back you. That's a coup. Then they'll come in, assassinate you, and then now you're the prime minister. And now you're willing to agree with the United States and whatever policies they establish. So now under your administration of your people, you're the middleman between the United States and your people. So now you're a sellout. That's what a political coup is.
Mhm.
And if you study any South American country, you'll see that the United States was involved. Look at the situation with Venezuela.
Mm-hmm.
Mm.
So true.
Every time you see the United States, and when I'm saying the United States, I'm talking about the Europeans occupying our land. Whenever they're involved in any political anything with any country, it's a coup.
You could
Period.
You could even look
But
at the
they
stuff
have
right.
no authority to go.
No,
and
none.
say,
How is it possible that the nationals of, say, let's China, right? The nationals of China, they're trying to have a national election, meaning it's only their stuff.
Mhm.
How could another country be involved in that?
True.
That's not sovereignty.
No.
That's not independence. You get what I'm saying?
Mhm.
So when we see stuff like that, no, not guess, no, it is the continuation of the Spanish Inquisition and Crusades against the Moors and the enforcement of the Treaty of Verona, the secret Treaty of Verona, to infiltrate all Republican forms of government and demolish the Republic and institute a democracy. That's why you see different South American states with the Democratic Republic of so-and-so.
Mhm.
It's a positive and a negative. How does that work together? Right? That's like saying, yeah, I'm a bound free man. How are you free and bound at the same time?
You could be bound to freedom.
Privileges.
You know what I'm saying?
Christianity codes.
That's what that is. Right? So now when we're talking about are we citizens of the United States, because Morris keeps saying we're citizens of the United States without qualifying it, without explaining which states you're talking about. So for the record, America is a continent. Two continents. North America and South America. Also, part of the Americas are the islands of America,
Mhm.
which include Hawaii, Cuba, Virgin Islands, the Bahamas, Turks and Caicos, all of these islands, they're all Americans, right? So even in the debate where more say, I'm a citizen of the United States of America, which United States are you talking about?
Mhm.
Because there's several United States, right? There's the United States of Mexico, and if you look up the Republic of Mexico, that is their official name. It's the United States of Brazil, and if you look up the Republic of Brazil, that is their official name. So which United States are you a citizen of? Right? Because if you say I'm a citizen of the United States of America, this one right here, with the lowercase u, you're saying you're a citizen of the original 13 European colonies on the continent of America. Are you European? No, you're not. And the only way to be a citizen of that, since it is a federal government, meaning you have to agree to it, You have to get naturalized. Because the United States of America is not a bloodline. So you can't be a national of the United States.
Mhm.
Because your nationality is your bloodline. Are we clear on that?
That makes perfect sense
Right?
to me. That
Be-
makes
so-
perfect sense.
The only way to be a national of China is to have Chinese blood, right?
Correct.
So if you're not Chinese, and then you marry a Chinese woman,
Yes.
and you have a baby with that Chinese woman, that baby is a Chinese national, not you.
Correct.
Get it? So the only way for these Europeans to be Americans here is to what? Reproduce with us.
And that's why they're mad at Trump.
Yeah.
He just took that away from them.
The 14th Amendment?
Yeah.
Yes.
So you can't come here and have a child no more with us, with Americans, and claim American.
Mm-hmm.
And everyone was mad at Trump. All of our people were mad at Trump, like he did something to us. I'm like, you guys are not really reading what's going on.
They don't know who they are, that's why.
It's the same
Like,
thing
you're
they
not
do
checking out
in
the specs what he
Sweden
just
and
did for you.
Switzerland. All these
He's made it so-
people live in-
Hold on, one person at a time. Go ahead.
Sorry,
No, go ahead.
like
No, go ahead, go ahead.
like these Scandinavian countries, they do the same thing.
Mhm.
That's where he gets it from.
Yeah.
Even in Kenya, actually even the whole of Africa.
Mm-hmm.
The fact that that's why, okay, if you guys know Robert Mugabe of Zimbabwe,
Mm-hmm.
when he chased out the white settlers, he told them they need to go back to where they come from. So the white settlers were arguing, we were born here,
Mm-hmm.
so where are we going? He said, listen, you can be born here as much as you want to be born here,
But you ain't from here.
but you are not from here.
Which is exactly what Noble Drew Ali said. Just because you're
Right.
born here, that don't
Yes,
make you a citizen.
You do not qualify.
Yeah.
You're not a national, you're not a sovereign.
Yeah. So now, so what you're talking about is called jus soli, which means the right of the soil, which certain nations have that within their laws, that if you're born here, then since you're born on this soil, you're a citizen.
Right,
But other countries, some countries don't have that.
no.
That's called jus sanguine, or the right of blood, meaning you can only be a national if you're born into it. So if you look at the Constitution of Haiti, if you look up the Constitution of Colombia, if you look up the Constitution of Cuba, it talks about citizenship and nationality. And in those constitutions of these different nations, it'll say you are recognized as a Colombian, Cuban, or what was the other one I just said? Or Haitian national, if one of your parents is a Haitian, father or mother.
Mhm.
So again, if you're not Haitian, you mate with a Haitian woman, that child is considered a Haitian national because of its bloodline. But it says you can be adopted as a Haitian citizen. You get it? So you're not Haitian by blood, but since you married a Haitian woman, you know our laws, culture, and custom, you respect our people, you can become a citizen.
And that's naturalized.
That's naturalization.
Naturalization,
Yeah.
yeah.
The baby would be nationalized because of the baby's bloodline.
Yeah.
You would be naturalized because you're not a blood citizen
Just like
or a blood national.
the Black's Law definition of free whites, more or less intermixed
Yes.
with us.
So, when the Europeans got here, it didn't start in 1610 with the Virginia colony. They were brought here as slaves under the Moors since the 1100s all the way up to the 1800s. They were slaves.
Mm-hmm.
Right? You tracking? Right? Just look it up. Look up the Barbary slave trade. Look up white slaves and Muslim masters.
Mm-hmm.
Just look it up and you'll see that. During that time of the Barbary slave trade, 1100s to the 1800s, these people calling themselves the United States, the 13 colonies, were under the political jurisdiction of the Crown of England. Right? And they were here in America. Right? You following?
At that time.
Yes, at that time.
Mm-hmm.
Around 1774, the Europeans here in America
Decided they wanted to
broke away from the Europeans in Europe because they were arguing they're not treating us fairly here in America. That's what the Europeans were arguing, right? The Europeans were saying they're taxing us, and we don't have a say in any of their legislation. Their argument was no taxation without representation. They were arguing that British troops would come into their houses without any warrants. They were claiming that they were bearing arms, and the Crown of Britain was charging them for bearing arms. They didn't like that. They were saying that the laws of Britain applied to them. They didn't like that, etc., etc., etc. So they waged war against the Crown of Britain and got their independence in 1774. Now, since the various European countries all had treaty agreements with the Moors, once they got independence from those Christian nations, they were no longer protected by a treaty with the Moors. So what was the first thing that they did? Entered into a treaty with the Moors. So if that's
Say that
so,
again. So
all
once,
right.
say that again. Once they broke
So-
away-
So, all right,
Right.
let's act like. Can we separate these tables? Y'all stay on this side. Y'all stay on this side. Yeah. All right. So now we see how the room split, right? Let's act like y'all are Europeans in America. Y'all are Europeans in Europe, right? These Europeans were treating these Europeans poorly. So these Europeans said, no taxation without representation. You can't treat us like shit no more. We're going to war against you.
My question is this: how are we ill-treating them from here, and they're in the Americas?
Because there was commerce. Because these Europeans had treaty agreements with the Moors. I'll be the Moors. Actually, you come over here, please.
Right. So with the
Can you
Moors,
come over here?
who were
Because we're the Moors now. So we're the Moors. So remember, this is America,
Yeah.
right?
Yep.
Y'all are the Europeans in America.
Mm-hmm.
We're the Moors in America.
Mm-hmm.
Y'all are Europeans from Europe. Y'all have treaty agreements with us, right? To establish colonies, these people, within our jurisdiction, America. So we're talking to y'all, as government, and different political figures that you sent here, in charge of these people.
Okay. So that's
But those political figures were suppressing them,
okay.
robbing them via taxes and stuff like that.
And we over here kind of know that's going on. But we're
Yeah.
gonna get whatever.
No, you do know, because you're sending them.
Okay.
You know what I mean? Via the ships and stuff like that, and issuing orders, right? So now, y'all being mean to them. We don't care because that's y'all stuff. You know what I mean? We got a treaty with y'all. This is national.
Right.
That's your domestic people. Although it's on our land.
That's in the
But
water.
it's across the water.
Across
Not
the
just the water, yeah.
no,
It's on the land too, right? So this would be the water.
Yes.
So for y'all to get people over here, you gotta cross the waters.
Yeah.
Since we control all that, y'all gotta talk to us.
Correct.
Right? So y'all suppressing them. They don't like it. They separate from you. But we don't have a treaty with them. We have a treaty with y'all. So they have to get a treaty with us. That's the treaty of 1786, 1787.
Okay.
Alright.
That's these people. They're Europeans.
Okay,
They started off as 13 colonies.
alright.
They united. So now they're United States on America. But they say of America.
It was for America.
Oh,
No,
that's
it's
right.
no. You're messing up the Constitution for the United States of America with the Constitution of the United States of America. But there's still 13 colonies. Just because you see the word state, that doesn't mean they're not a colony. A state is just a group of people bound together by common law. They're still a colony. These 13 colonies entered into a treaty with the Moors. That's our relationship with each other. And since nations enter into treaties, the Moorish nation and this federal government entered into an agreement. So we can't be citizens of this. You get it?
So the top,
This one.
okay. Under the conjunctive, I'm not trying to do grammar and all that stuff. It should be on America. Is
Yeah.
that what you're trying to tell me?
Yes,
Is that what
because these Europeans
Exactly.
are on American soil. They're not of American soil.
You're,
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
just look at that penny and look at yourself and go back and forth in the mirror. You're the they're on. They're bankrupt
That's
on you.
that's the trick.
Yeah.
So now when you're talking law, it's cheating. They're cheating you.
So them,
Because
they're
they're
coming
born
with
in
the United, them, they are operating on United States of America instead of United States
On
of
America.
Mm-hmm.
America.
That's how they're able to hide the foot on our necks.
So, oh, y'all can sit down.
Feel it.
Thank you,
See
sir.
it.
They be doing that even before then, because Mohammed used to charge the Europeans in the sea all the time, and that's why the Europeans got mad, and Christianity and Catholic. That's why I had to be able to catch Mohammed in 1492.
Probably when they decided to start making a change.
Yeah, to be able to colonize themselves over here.
That's why that year is so prominent to them.
So now-
1492.
Dealing with this, right? The United States, let's just go into the semantics or the syntax of this sentence, right? The word the is what? An adverb. Which has to be, or has to come before what? A noun.
Mhm.
The word united is an adjective. What is an adjective?
It's a doing word, it's an practicum, a doing word.
An action
It
word.
describes an action.
No, it describes a noun.
Yeah.
It's a modifier, right?
Mhm.
So it's explaining to you the state of the noun or the condition of the noun. So they're united states. So you just call them states. You don't have to call them United States. You get
So
it?
the adverb has to come before a noun and can
Yeah.
be in front of an adjective?
Yes, because an adjective is describing the noun that comes after it,
Okay.
right?
Mhm.
So when you see the word united capitalized, is that correct within grammar?
No. It depends.
On what?
If it's a
If it's the first word of a sentence.
Yeah.
Or
the name.
it presents a geographical or a name or something.
Yes.
it's a
Because
title.
united, remember, united can have, united meaning joining.
Yes,
That is
but that's
valid.
describing it.
Exactly.
Yeah.
But united could mean different places, like different locations. You know
Yeah.
what I'm
Same
saying,
thing.
in a geographical, so
Yeah.
it would be different.
But so does this. Because they're telling you, they're describing the states and where it is.
So the first.
As the flag slaps me in the face.
That's like hugging you today.
You get it? So this is describing this noun in the geographical area.
So are we on the first or are we in the?
We're not part of
second?
any of this because we're not Europeans.
No, right now.
We're on the
Right
second.
now
We're
you're
on the
describing the,
I see what
Oh,
you're saying.
Describing what you said.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I just want to get back to what you said.
so are we
This-
done with the first part?
Yeah, I'm explaining this one now. I'm explaining how this is wrong.
Could you really tell me as you move along, because
Oh,
I'll be teaching people who will be asking me all these questions,
Yeah.
and some of them because of pure ignorance, IGNORANCE, they will ask me some bitty questions.
Yeah.
So I want to be accurate when I'm feeding them this.
yeah, so that's why I was trying to explain this. This is wrong being capitalized because of grammar.
Okay.
That's what I'm telling you. So I'm telling you the difference between this and this.
So the
These people
first-
got their independence in 1774.
Okay.
These people who call themselves the United States capital U overthrew these people in 1861.
So 1860.
That's why they call these people de facto.
Well, grammatically, why is the U incorrect? Or do you get
Because adjectives don't get capitalized, only nouns do.
What if it's the title?
Yeah, what if it's the title of
But this is the title. And if it's a title of a corporation, it's gonna be like this, all caps.
all caps? So that right there, trying to make
It's
it
three different
proper,
ways.
is
This
improper.
This
Is improper.
is to deceive you because it looks like this. This obviously doesn't look like that because this is all caps. So it's called semantic deceit. This and that is called semantics. The difference between that and that.
Can we call that a 3D different dimension of definition of words?
I don't know what you mean by that.
Like meaning they split one, like the whole sentence in three. To be able to cheat on you, to be able to.
Well, all they did was put this capital. That's all they did.
Yeah, that's what they do all the time.
Yeah. But since they know we don't know grammar, and they know we don't know sentence structure, right? And orthology, they know we can't even decipher between the two. Matter of fact, three,
Three.
right? So,
You have to be really looking to read.
yeah. You also have to know the history of the United States. So now before these people overthrew those people, you'll see President James Monroe of the various European colonies issued his Monroe Doctrine of 1822. In 1822, the president of this warned these people that the Europeans were trying to involve themselves in this union. Eventually they did, overthrew it and formed this in 1861. So look up the Monroe Doctrine, 1822. So prior to 1861, the democracy did not exist. Because Article 4, Section 4 of the Constitution for the lowercase u, United States of America, guaranteed in every state of the European Union a republican form of government, in harmony with the established Moorish government here in America. Because we said, if you're going to do business on our land, it has to be a republic. Meaning it has to be for the benefit of the people. Because you're on our land. Just like if I go into your house and you say, take your shoes off, if I want to step in your house, I got to take my shoes off.
That's a fact.
That's a republic.
Get it?
That's a fact.
So now, you'll see President James Monroe warned his European counterparts in America that other Europeans in Europe were trying to infiltrate their union. Look at the Monroe Doctrine. Then you'll see in this Constitution of the United States, lowercase u, of 1789, after our treaty, said that each state shall be guaranteed a republican form of government, set at Article 4, Section 4. So again, prior to 1861, there was no democracy. Now, you'll see today that they write in that there was a democracy, but there actually wasn't
Prior to 1861.
prior to 1861.
Isn't that where Congress
Adjourned sine die, yes, but that's the coup of 1861.
They got
That's the European Inquisitionists over in Europe infiltrating the European Union here and dismantling it from within. Which all you got to do is go to the libraryofcongress.gov and search in the Library of Congress newspaper articles, look up Congress adjourns sine die 1861. And you'll see within their newspapers, they say that.
Adjourns who?
Sine die. S-I-N-E space D-I-E. Means without day. Meaning they're not going to meet up again. Right?
without a day to return.
So now, the United States of the European Union are all individual colonies. So Massachusetts is individual or separate from Rhode Island. Rhode Island is separate from Delaware. Delaware is separate from Georgia, right? They're all independent because they all create their own laws. But then they agreed that amongst ourselves, we're going to elect individuals from our territory to speak for us internationally. That's called the United States. You get it? Are you sure?
Each state.
So there's the individual states
Mhm.
and then the United States.
Okay, so the individual states choose leaders amongst themselves to represent them in the bigger scale of the United States.
Yes, internationally, yes.
International.
So that's where you get the relationship of the federal government. That is the federal government. But it's their federal government. But their federal government has a contract with them and us.
What contract is that?
The treaty. The treaty is a contract.
I didn't know this from the federal government.
Signed by both parties.
Yeah, so remember, the individual states can't enter into treaties because they agreed within their constitution that only the federal government can. Since the federal government consists of individuals from each state. So that federal government speaks for all of them. You get it? So that federal government spoke for the individual states, saying that the treaty is how our relationship is going to be with the Moors,
So
which applies to every state.
that's how they got a contract, a treaty contract, because according to like law, you have to be a country
Yeah,
to do a treaty with another country.
yeah. So that's why they organize themselves as the federal United States, right?
Hi.
Peace. Furthermore,
So that's why when you look at Trump right now, and you're talking about the capital of the United States, he talks about it.
he's
as a
trying to,
country.
yes,
He refers to it as a country.
but it's not a country.
It's not a country, it's
not
a
a country.
corporation.
Yes.
He's the president.
Yeah, but he's trying to restore the republic of the major or organic United States, of the European Union.
But does not fall in line with the Moroccan treaty.
Of course. But that means, but he's only half the coin. We're the other half.
So if he does that in line,
He can only do so much.
We would have to. come
We have to
around.
step up.
Yeah. And bring it back to how it was when they first signed the treaty.
Yeah. But we have to be organized.
Yeah.
And in order to organize, we have to know this. Because we have to know our relationship with them. Because if we don't, we just think we're subject to them,
Correct.
which we're absolutely not. Yes.
We have to be aware that we're not we're not citizens of neither of those three.
No, we're not.
And be aware that this is for them. And from there, we are the United States of Morocco.
Yes.
So, let's say the territory that Narragansett can go into international treaty for the remainder of the United States of Morocco as a singular state.
Mhm.
We
We need all of the Moors to be
Moors
yeah.
to come together
in a national election to elect the Sultan and the Council of Elders so that we can speak internationally as a as a national government. Yes.
So me by looking at that, and we were talking about three parts, three bodies of each like the whole sentence of each. You said the United States, capital U, second one, 1871, like this for the minority, right?
This is the Spanish
Inquisitions, right?
Democratic Crusades, Crusaders,
Yeah.
and
Crusades.
Inquisitionists.
That's why the Dominican comes from.
What is an
That
inquisition?
word. But let me tell you this, the 1871 got to deal with a lot with that too for the minority, because the United States turned into the third body politics of
Yeah.
a corporation
Yeah.
from
Since
from the
1861.
Vatican.
Yeah. So what I'm describing right now is what I went over earlier was these. Good job. This, the United States of America, lowercase u. This is the original 13 colonies of the various European nations doing business here in America. They were originally under the Crown of Europe and got independence from Europe in 1774, right? Since they were no longer under the Crown of Europe, the treaties between the European countries and the Moors, meaning us, no longer applied to them. So in 1786, they got a treaty with the Moors. Then 1789, they signed their constitution.
So that's why Mesquites and Narragansett in 1642 that was running by Inducia Alvitudes. And then
Say that again?
Inducia Alvitudes, that's Latin. I did my research.
Mhm.
And Inducia Alvitudes is pretty much what we call Narragansett and Mesquites now, and then they split it into the 13 colonies.
Yeah.
And then in 1889, it turned as cities.
Yeah.
So instead of count and ship, it's two nouns together. It was a count and a ship, international waters jurisdiction, and then turned 1889 turned into a corporation like
Yeah.
I was saying. Yeah, that makes total
So-
sense now.
Right? These Europeans were in treaty agreements with the Moors because they're on our land. Right?
The original.
Yes. Yes. Right?
Alright.
Then again, in 1822, just to recap for you, President James Monroe, who was a European, speaking for the Union of Colonies of Europeans, warned the Europeans here that there were Europeans from Europe trying to claim interest in these colonies. It's called the Monroe Doctrine of 1822. So the reason why I'm going over this is to show us, dark-skinned people, various copper-tone natives of America, that we cannot be citizens of this European Union called the United States of America, because they're all individual colonies. We're not colonists. We're the people of the land. So we cannot be citizens of their separate colonies. We didn't know that because we were taught that they're states and they were here and they got treaties with the Indians and the Indians are citizens and the black people are from somewhere else. That's all the BS that we're taught. But if we're taught the real history, you see and know that we cannot be citizens of their BS, right? So Monroe warned the Union of the Europeans' interest and involvement in the United States. Then those Europeans who were interested in the United States infiltrated in 1861. They tell you in history that Congress adjourned sine die, which means without day, which means they no longer were operating as Congress since that date. Without day. So in any corporation, in any real business, the board of directors or the people that run things will have a secretary. That secretary is charged with informing everyone part of that business of when the next meeting is going to be, to ensure that business keeps going, right? And then you'll see January 3rd, 2019, the 115th Congress adjourned sine die, but then the 116th Congress came into play to continue the U.S. Congress. You get it?
Business.
That's what I never understood.
It's secession,
Yeah.
so it continues. We can relate that to a living will or a living
So
trust.
Congress have a will? Did they leave a will?
Yeah, their will is the Constitution. You get it? We sure.
'Cause they
So,
adopted
so,
laws, right?
so let me try to simplify it, right? Let me just let the air
So,
clear. Hold on, no questions. Let me let the air clear because I know it's a lot.
Take it from the top, please. From the small.
I'm gonna start,
Okay,
right?
please.
So now, us as individuals, right? We have individual families, etc., right? Let's say all of us individually, like I have my will, you have yours, right? I have my family trust, you have yours. I have my family business, you have yours. I'm gonna write in my family business that when I die, my eldest son, in cooperation with my eldest daughter, is going to continue to run the business. That's my will. That's a contract. That's my agreement. So now when I die, my business continues. That's why they call it a living trust, because it's still living based on my words. Get it? If I didn't do that, then it adjourns sine die and my business no longer continues. Right? So these people in 1861 said, we're not going to say anything. We're just leaving. Which means they stopped being Congress. You get it?
They abandoned us.
Yes, they abandoned their office.
Like doing that is, that's like us abandoning us.
That's like me as a Grand Sheik here, I just leave.
No, abandon us.
Yeah. But that's when you're supposed to, amongst yourselves, elect your own. But if you don't know that, then, get it? So, 1861, these people stopped being the de jure government of the European Union. So when you hear this stuff, remember, it don't apply to you, because you're not European, right? I can't substantiate that enough.
What are you trying to tell them?
They're de jure within their own European Union because that's what they agreed to for their European Union, which you're not part of. Do you understand that?
Mm-hmm.
All right.
And it's crazy too, because if we're not part of it and we show no structure, then they look at us.
Then we're stateless.
Yes.
So
That's
they
what
come
that
in-
just
yeah.
brought that to my mind.
Yes.
Subjugated to their law.
Yes.
Well,
Right? So now, when you see this right here, the United States in the adjournment sine die and then the Act of Congress 1871, in the Reconstruction era, where they were rewriting history
Mm-hmm.
and running us in history as black people and Indians, right? That is the continuation of the Spanish Inquisition in crusades against our people. Do you understand?
Yes.
Are you sure?
Well, I understand. Yes.
You don't?
So they took it. They took it to.
All right. So let me just go into the crusades and Inquisitions. When you do research on Christianity, you'll see that the different popes issued orders to spread Christianity. Right? What they were really doing is taking land that belonged to the Moors and forcing their religion on the people. So they were waging war against people. So that's what the Inquisition is in Crusades. They were waging war against our people because we controlled the planet.
It literally says an official investigation.
Yeah. That's why when they pull you over, they're
Pull up,
saying,
yep.
I'm starting an investigation. They're telling you they're Inquisitionists.
Mm-hmm. And they can use cruel. It says cruel, unjust methods for however long, literally questioning your, like questioning who your God is. Pretty back then,
Yeah.
it probably was that they
That's-
would pull
that-
up,
but-
question
Yes,
your God.
but that's why they say, what's your name
What's your name?
and where you from? Because you're going to give them a European name, which tells you which European is your master, Smith, Jones, and Johnson,
Mm-hmm.
and what colony you're from.
Mm-hmm.
So where your master lives. And if you don't have a license from them, read the Christian Black Codes of 1724, blacks can't do shit without a license. They're going to take everything you have. That is the Inquisition and Crusades against the Moors.
And that is
And if
what
you look it up.
in our colonization in Africa.
Yeah.
Because in Kenya, they introduced the Kipande system.
Mm-hmm.
And you had to have the Kipande ID.
License. Yeah.
All right?
A state-issued ID, which is a
Yes,
license.
For you to just move, not even
Yes.
to travel, just to move, physically move with your
Move
2
your
feet
body.
from one place to another.
Yeah.
So they were like, no, Kipande system. And anyone
So-
who resisted, imprisonment or death.
All right, so pull your phones out. Pull your phones out. Google the Christian Black Codes of 1724. Now keep in mind, all of our people weren't slaves, just like all these Europeans weren't slaves. Just like all these Europeans weren't waging war against us. It was only some of them. So we can't just put all the Europeans in a pot as if all of them were waging war with us, because these people, hold on, these people were in treaty agreements with us. Get it? So now, it's the Christian Black Codes of 1724. It's derived from the Codes Noir in Europe, which was their codes implemented against the Moors for colonization there. So there's no difference, right? When you read the Christian Black Codes of 1724 that have not been abolished, meaning they're still in force today, you'll see that it said blacks and other slaves, so-called Spanish, Latinos, Indians, etc., cannot do business without a license or permission from their master. So again, when you're trying to go inside that car and you got a license, you're going to look at that and say, that's the Spanish Inquisition. That's Christian Black Codes of 1724. That's how they're suppressing us. Right? Because if they suppress your ability to travel to distant lands and generate commerce for your family, they're affecting your family by affecting you. That's genocide. That's the Christian Black Codes. That's the Spanish Inquisition. Right? So if you don't know what the Inquisition and Crusades are, I recommend you look them up. And if you want to, get my book, Are You Confused About Law? Because I talk about it. Right? So that's what this is. The United States of America, capital U, capital S, all caps, of 1861. It is a branch of the Spanish Inquisition. So now I'm presenting this information to you so you do more research on the Spanish Inquisition. Also look up King Ferdinand and Queen Isabella. And you'll see in Jamaica, DR, and Puerto Rico, Saint Isabella.
That's true.
They're telling you you're colonized. They're telling you to your face.
Well, that's true. Saint Isabella.
Yeah. And you'll see King Ferdinand and Queen Isabella are known for the how do you say it? Bureaucratization, there we go, of the Inquisition. Meaning they make it more legal than just straight war. That's where licenses come into play. That's where permits come into play. You get what I'm saying? So they're telling you they transitioned the Crusades into something that was just straight brutal force into something more technical.
You know, they said crusade, it was another definitional group of Christianity. They did in Catholic, they did too. The Crusades did what you were saying. They put Dominicans, it even in
Yeah, Saint Dominic.
Yeah, Santo Dominicano, Padre Dominicano.
Yeah.
Is pretty much is a crusade that
Yeah.
of forcing Christianity into
Yes.
upon us.
Yeah,
And that's the reason they call it Dominican.
yeah, yes. Yes, it's the Dominican Order of Christ, who their leader was Saint Dominique. Yeah, and then you'll see where the Pope, the Christian Catholic Pope of Rome, took members from the Dominican Order to fight in their crusades against the Moors. It'll make more sense when you study it.
But the whole bottom line was just Islam.
Yeah, land and people.
Yes.
Because you can have the land, but without people working the land, you're not really getting anything. You know what I'm saying? So their aim is to take the land.
So that they
But in
can
order to take the land, they have to deal with the people. Right?
Yeah, you take the land, you control the people.
Yes. And in order for that to work, you're dealing with the Willie Lynch manual, take the mind, leave the body. So I'm gonna leave you on your land. You're still in Jamaica,
Yeah, but the
right? But you don't know you're a Moor now. Now you think you're Jamaican and you think you were brought here. So now you don't connect with your land. And now I'm putting in your mind, I brought you here. I'm in charge. You worship my pale-skinned God. So now when you see me, subconsciously you think I'm your God. And then I put fear in you. The white man's the devil. The white man's the beast. The white man just kills your people. We're hostile and brutal because I'm really a coward. But as long as you think, or as long as you have fear of me in your mind, you're gonna suppress
Yeah,
yourself.
I'm not gonna do nothing to you.
Yeah, I've been having this
Straight up.
flashback.
Right? So now I rule you and your people. And I don't have to be violent.
You ain't gotta lift a finger.
The only time I have to be violent is if, oh, you're trying to say something? All right, go get him. So that he doesn't inspire everyone else. But I'm really not that powerful. You get what I'm saying? I'm just reminding you of what I used to do. And some of the shit I didn't even do. I'm just making it up. But since you believe everything I say, it works. You get it? And there's more technicalities of them rewriting history, them changing the name of the land, stuff like that.
I can tell you something, that it was a Moor over there in Dominican Republic who was trying to fight with the Inquisitions.
Yeah.
For him to be able to be in the political party, for them to become free from Haiti, all the way to Dominican Republic, to be able to join themselves, to be able to fight the Inquisition from the Constitution of Dominican Republic. And he never, they said it in the news over there, he will never will be the president of Dominican Republic, just because of the definition they knew he was a Moor.
Yeah.
Inquisitions. This is how crazy it is, and the people love this guy to death.
Same thing they say in the United States. There will never be a black president.
And I was 4 years old when that was happening in the news, and I didn't know.
That's why
now.
Obama said he ain't black.
He said he's the first Kenyan American president, not the first black one.
Thank you.
Because black people are these people's property.
Okay.
So how would these people have their property ruling them? You get it?
Yeah.
Yes.
Another example of the Christian black code that's being spread all around the Americas, North, South, Central America, the islands. The Dominican government is getting all the Haitians has actually been invading again the Dominican Republic, have children, live there, speak the language, look the same as the Dominican there. They're taking all of their national status.
Yeah.
Is saying that they're not Dominican.
Yeah.
They don't speak.
Because they're not submitting
Yeah.
to the Pope of Rome.
And
Yeah.
I was just saying to
Christian
my
black
girls
folks
in the
be
car
tricked
too.
within their own self, thinking that they're Spanish from Spain, versus you're within the same island, same people, same language,
Yeah.
and you're intermarrying within your own people, but they're saying that you're not part of that.
Because the mindset is different.
Yeah.
The mindset is allodio. The mindset is I am who I am,
Mhm.
not who you say I am. There's a difference.
I have a question.
Yes.
I bump into a lot of Moors, and they watch RV Day and stuff like that, and they'll ask a question about when it comes to naturalization and stuff.
You said natural?
I mean, the
Naturalization.
nationalization,
Mhm.
right, doing their paperwork.
Yeah.
Should they nationalize the name they was begotten with? I wanna say it like that.
It depends. If you do research and that's your family name, then why not? But the real difference is you knowing the difference between your name and the homonym that sounds like your name being the all capital letters name. That's the real difference.
So
Like
then
the
they
first
get
and the
like,
third.
like,
Yeah. So there's a difference between this right here. It just so happens my name is actually Asiatic.
right, so like mine would not be, right? So I'll use me as an example. Wayne Lawrence Blackson Jr.
What is it?
Wayne,
Morris Blackston?
Wayne Lawrence.
Lawrence.
I am the Lawrence, all that good stuff.
Yeah. What's
So,
the last name?
Blackson.
Blackston, that's why you're not.
So I have a lot of family everywhere. So
Yeah.
if you go down to Philly, we're there. If you go up into Connecticut, we're the Clintons, Blacksons, Jacksons. But that's, so like me being like the average person with a European sounding name, should they nationalize that name, or should they, like, cause like some people would go to like the Nation of Islam, and then once you go inside the Nation of Islam, they give you a name once you reach the Arab chamber.
Mhm.
A lot of people are scared of that, so they don't even know what a temple is.
So
'Cause
let
this
me
is
let me
not
answer that.
actually a temple.
If you read Nature Knows No Color Line by J.A. Rogers, so if you don't know this, write this down. Nature Knows No Color Line by J.A. Rogers. You'll see that a lot of European family origins or family crest are Moorish crest. So a lot of European names are Moorish names.
by whom?
Because J.A. Rogers, because the original Europeans are Moors. The problem is, our name looks similar to the name on the birth certificate. So if you keep the same name on the birth certificate and just put Bay on it, they're gonna just remove the Bay and say, yup, this is you. But if your name is completely different, and you show them an ID that's completely different, and they're looking up, and they have a warrant for another name, that clearly ain't you. You get what I'm saying? That's how they're claiming jurisdiction over us. Because the last name that my family was given isn't a name. It's a title. It's a job that my family did.
Abdullah.
Nah,
Oh, it's not your last name?
it was this.
Latimer.
Latimer. That is not a name. That's a title. It's Latiner. It's one who translates Latin.
What?
That's what it is.
Shoot, you're
So it's
doing
not
it
a.
now.
I know. No coincidence, right?
Look at that. Yeah,
It's not a name. It's a title.
but they put
It's
it
what my
on the
family
name.
did. You get it? So if you look at it from that perspective, you won't call it a European name. Because we're the original Europeans.
Well,
You get what I'm saying?
yeah,
But so what I'm trying to tell you-
Breaking,
So that's what I'm trying to explain to you. I'm trying to explain to you the real difference is this and this. The straw name and you. That's what we're breaking away from.
So you must
Get it?
know the major, minor of the language.
So you have to know the difference between an artificial person.
Yeah. The original, which is the major, which is, has to be.
And a natural
capital
person.
letter for the first letter, of the name.
Via this name is how they're trying to claim jurisdiction over your natural body. Because if you think that that name is you, then they have jurisdiction over you. That's the separation. You get it? So don't necessarily think that's a European name. Because again, if you look up Nature Knows No Color Line by J.A. Rogers and Ancient and Modern Britons by David McRitchie, you'll see that we are the original Europeans.
That's when they call it Swarthy or something.
Swarthy, yeah. Get it? So the name that my mother gave me and the name that I gave myself, they're the same name, just one's in Arabic. I translated what my middle name meant, and then my first last name, and then my second last name. Look up what they meant in Arabic and just chose that. It's the same thing. The only difference is this.
Oh.
And my perspective on it. That's the only difference. You get it? You got a question?
My last name was changed. Well, it wasn't changed when I was born. I think it was my grandfather, great grandfather. It was last name before was Romulus, which means citizen of Rome.
Yeah.
I never knew why it was changed.
But we're the original Romans.
Greeks. Name
So
We're the
again,
original, all of them.
even the one of my family last names, that was made up too. One of my, I think my mother was telling me one of my great grandparents, he murdered someone and then had to leave wherever he was and then just adopted the last name. So like, you know what I mean? You get what I'm saying?
So
We just rolling around with
is that why
aliases.
we see all these funky names? Cause you see, Abraham, Wedgewater, you see, I don't know, some weird names, you're like someone Fence,
Mm-hmm.
you know, like someone Branch, someone Shoe. You're like, a shoe is a name,
Mm-hmm.
you know what I'm saying? And it's not a Manchurian name, it's actual shoe.
Yeah.
Okay, makes sense now.
Yeah, a lot of
Because
these
those are
names
just
are
fake
positions. No, a lot of them are positions.
Yeah, like blacksmith and
Yeah.
Mhm.
You were a blacksmith.
yeah.
Okay, yeah, because I thought you were named according to what your skills are.
Sometimes. But like if you look up like
Oh.
Yeshua ben Yosef, Yeshua ben Yosef means Yeshua
Son.
from Joseph. His father was Joseph.
Son.
So it's not a last name.
Mm-hmm.
It's a family name to tell you which family he's from.
Yes.
But that can change. So don't pay too much attention to it's a European name or it's a slave name. This is the difference. The artificial person and the natural person. Because if you actually comprehend the esoteric meaning of I am, it doesn't matter what you call yourself. You are. You can call me Steve, I don't care. I'm still me, that's not gonna change. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
It's your perspective on this and that. That's the real meaning.
Yeah, because if you started to believe your name is Steve, then that's
Then that's
the
who you
difference.
are, and nothing wrong with that.
And then you're gonna start acting like Steve, and Steve's foul.
Just know who you are, not the name that someone gave you. Because when you were born, someone gave you that name. As an adult, you have the right to self-determination. You get what I'm saying?
But some people would be like, well, I wanna keep the name that my mom gave.
That's fine.
Right?
Nothing wrong with that.
And then they'll be like, well, now that I'm talking to you, I feel like my name has been tarnished.
So, all right, let's look at this.
Character.
Let's look at this. When you look at Chinese people, they have names that I don't know how to pronounce sometimes.
Mhm.
When they come here in their own language,
Zing-song.
when they come here and they're speaking in English language, they'll have an English name.
Yeah.
So that Englishmen can speak to them.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that was like.
But that doesn't mean they're slaves. That's just, if you can't say Jamal, just call me Jay. J-A-Y.
Yeah.
But I still am who I am. You know what I'm saying?
Mhm.
That's how we need to start looking at the name, our name. And knowing the difference between who we are, the I am, what our name is, what we refer to ourselves as, and what people call us as, and the straw name that they try to force on us. We have to understand that. Yes.
Just to add on what you said, right?
Yeah.
Like the late Nelson Mandela.
Yeah.
I don't know if people read about him. So when he was growing up, he's actually real name, I forgot, Mandikizela something. Mandikizela, Mandiba something.
Mhm.
So when he went to school, the teacher would refer to him as Nelson. And he would tell him that's not my name. And he would say, this is my name. And he would go home and his mother will say, your name is Nelson, and he'll be like, no, that is not my name, and he will tell his mom, but this is my name, and the mother will be like, you need to go along with Nelson. That way, you can be admitted to school, you can get the education and get the privileges that other children are having.
Yes.
So you see, he had to drop his root name to adapt a fake name,
Yeah,
so that he could have
but
rights.
let me try to explain something. That's not always used as a bad thing.
No, I see.
Because if you look at the popes, all of the popes go through a name change
Mhm.
because the status is different. You get it?
Yeah.
So,
He's not a cardinal anymore, he's a pope.
yeah, Rodrigo Borgia, he's no longer Borgia.
Mhm.
He was Alexander the Sixth. Because we're dealing with different jurisdictions and different meanings. The word Alexander means savior of man. And is where the last name Sanders is derived from, which is the name that my great-grandfather who killed someone, he just adopted that name. You know what I'm saying? So it means different things in different areas. You get it?
But you see, like he had to drop.
That's because of colonization. You know what I'm saying?
And it happened everywhere.
But what I'm trying to show you is it can be used as a negative and a positive. To get benefits through colonization, that's a negative. But if you're trying to be the Pope, that's a positive. You know what I'm saying?
Still a negative.
It depends on how you're looking at it.
Have you looked at how the Europeans are now acting like how we used to? We might see a different bird, and we'll name our child after that bird. Or an action like the star up in the sky. Now they're starting to name all their children that stuff.
Yeah.
You see that, right?
Yes.
Like these,
Yes.
so
I
busy
noticed
trying to
that.
be
And
us.
they used to make fun of me because I was reading somewhere a European woman. She was people are making it's on calling herself Malika or McCain or something. She has a black name, but she's of European descent. But she was being I didn't even get to read. I just seen it up top when we were coming to class. I was like, I'm reading Father Nolan. So
Switch
I'm
the
telling
table.
you, for real, Brother Jamal, it's not a good thing.
Mhm.
Now, look at their own children, they're adopting our names. It's not a good thing. If it is a good thing, why then make we drop our name to adopt your name so that we can have rights,
It's all
which
perspective.
you are putting into
Hold on.
privilege?
It's all perspective. Because if we allowed them to have the power to name us, then we submitted to them.
But you're not getting because.
No, I am getting it. What I'm trying to tell you is the power to name is the power that they're possessing. We keep recognizing that as a power instead of having our own power.
So that's where the trap is.
Yes, that's what we're trapping ourselves. They're doing this. They're setting up the basket with poison in it. And our dumbasses are going to it.
Some of us
For
went back like,
example,
hold on, let me
vice
get
president
Let me hang on the rim.
CEO,
Yeah, you pretty
that's
much,
part of your name before
you
take it.
answer.
Hold on, one person at a time. Thank you.
You answer to the name. You shouldn't be answering to the name if you know that's not you.
Yes.
For
You
example,
use it for business purposes, that's about it, when you want to, but you don't really have to.
Yes. Good.
For example, vice president, CEO, those are titles that you could attach to your name. Like CEO of what? CEO of Monsanto or CEO of Natural Foods Corporation?
Yeah.
So if I'm gonna take the title of a CEO, I would rather go and use it in the natural food source, but I'm not condemning the title CEO or whatever else, president of that title. The title doesn't make the thing bad.
Yes.
It's the intention and the purpose of using the title.
Yes.
Yeah, I'm president of this, president of Wakanda. Did I kill all the Wakandans? Or did I help and save all the Wakandans or whatever
Yeah.
situation you wanna put in there?
Yes.
President is not a bad title.
Yes.
I like how
Do you need more clarity?
I don't need no clarity, it's still
Alright.
not changing of the names. I'm telling you, it's a bad thing. There's nothing good about it.
That's not necessarily true.
I'm telling you,
When you-
there's
when
no
we-
way, Brother Jabir, there's no way you make me drop my root name to adopt a fake name and
Well,
then there's positivity.
it's
Yeah, I'm not, no, no, no.
And yes,
That's why I said
look
context.
at it.
That's why I said context.
Hold it, but look at it.
Hmm.
They did that, okay?
Yeah.
But now look, their children and their children, they're taking our names. Think about it.
Hmm.
Why not?
Think about it. If it's a bad thing, we are dropping our names
Our root
for
names?
something. Yes, our root
You mean
names.
like our native root names
Exactly.
to what name, a European name or
You're
US
dropping. Yes,
Eurocentric
you're
name?
You're dropping. I'm dropping my Jambi name for Catherine, and yet here comes Crystal, dropping her Crystal name
For
get-
Jambi.
to take Jambi.
But, so
Think
when you
about it.
change your name too, you don't have to change it to a European name, you can change it to another Asiatic name.
That is.
Here's the
fine.
trick, look at this. We dropped our names to stray after idol gods. We
Yep.
took on their names. They're dropping their names now to get reverence from God. They
So-
want to be
All
like
they want
us.
is nobility,
They
so
want
all they
nobility.
wanna do is have
So they
children
know
with
that-
Moors or drop their names and make, and get Moorish names to, like, to earn nobility. We're dropping our,
Exactly.
we're
It's
dropping,
not
You
Not
guys are
only
still
that-
coming to my point, that's what I'm saying.
Not only that, look.
Yeah.
If it's a good,
But
I want
we're
you
also
guys to
dropping
tell me
our
how it
name.
is a good thing. Listen, Nelson Mandela couldn't go to school, all right?
Let me clarify it
He
again.
couldn't do this, he couldn't do that.
Let me clarify it again.
Because he had to drop Mandiba Mandikizem
Yes.
to adapt Nelson.
That is a bad
How
thing.
is it good?
That's a bad
Hold
thing.
up.
That's what I said
And
earlier.
yet, Crystal right now is dropping Crystal to take, I
Because
mean.
Hold on, wait.
How?
What I said about Nelson Mandela was when he took on the name Nelson, that was a bad thing. That's what I said. Right? In that context, that's what I said, right? You tracking?
I got you.
So
brother.
in that context, it's bad. But a name change can be good
Mhm.
in a different context.
If you-
That's why I gave the example of the Pope of Rome. Once you become Pope, you take on a new name. So in that context, is good.
That's like, it would be his free national name. He's not this anymore because his status is elevated, so now he's this and this is his name.
yeah,
Yeah.
it's like just
So
like
if we were
matrimony.
to- if we were-
All
That
right.
is fine, that is good.
If we
But
were
I
dropping,
don't think you guys are getting what I'm saying, but
I-
I
I-
think.
No,
I-
me
I
too,
think
me
it's still
too.
a more
You see where I'm
names.
coming
All right, hold on.
from,
Yeah.
right?
Still, you just.
Good.
Because if you look at World Star right now, there was a Moor, he calls himself black. And he videotaped some young Europeans that are calling themselves white, and the Europeans had on wave caps. Can their hair wave, yo? They can. Like their hair can't lock.
Mhm.
But yet there was a gang of these Europeans pulling off their wave caps and and like, that's them stealing our culture and fitting in.
Mhm.
But we did that first, yo. That's when Prophet's saying you gave up yourself to chase after their gods.
All right, another dead person, the late Muhammad Ali. Have you seen when he changed his name? Have you seen the clip where he's talking about this change of names?
Mhm.
Okay, then. Why he dropped that name and pick up Muhammad Ali? I'm not saying changing from one Moorish name to another Moorish name. It's us dropping our Moorish name to adopt.
Yeah, that's a bad thing.
Thank you.
If you don't
Yeah.
know if you're adopting a fake reality that's not your heritage, if you're a Moor adopting a name called Catherine, which you know that Catherine may be a Moorish name path because we were the original Europeans, but still know that Catherine still Moorish, the Mendibi name still Moorish, you still have your mindset. You could drop it, mix it together, but always knowing that you are the original.
Right,
The
no matter
Mendibi,
what they do, they
Catherine,
can't,
You are the original in your mind. You can't change your mind if you're gonna adopt a name. If you're like, I'm gonna subjugate myself to Europe, I'm gonna give them all my rights. That's when you don't know what you're doing. When you change your name to Catherine, not knowing the history of the name Catherine.
no matter what they do, they can't gain that nobility unless
They're noble.
You
they're
get-
noble. And no matter what you do, you can't lose your nobility unless,
Oh.
Unless your
that I know.
actions prove otherwise.
right, so,
That I know, but I'm telling you, I'm gonna find some tough minds out there.
Yeah,
You see what I'm saying?
yes.
And they'll be thinking the way I'm thinking. and even further much more ahead.
Yeah.
So I'll have someone who will ask me, why then drop root name to pick up a branch name, and a
So
branch can.
we're not saying drop the root name.
And yet now the
That's not what we're
branches are
saying.
picking up the root name.
That's not what we're saying
You're
here.
not are you seeing what I'm saying?
Yes, but that's not what we're saying. That's not what I'm saying. I'm not saying drop the root name at all. I've never said that. I said know the difference between this and this.
I'm not for dropping the root name. I want to get rooted. I want to get.
I know,
deep and
but
go
you're
deeper.
saying people are gonna have that mindset.
So,
But we're not saying to drop it, so they can't even use that as an argument. That's what I'm saying. So you wouldn't even have that conversation.
So for this, for the people who want to stick to the.
To their
Catherine,
Moorish
the
name.
Crystal and the whatever, not the Moorish.
Oh,
The Catherines and the Crystal and the
yeah.
Antoinette and the Gabrielas.
You can change their perspective on those names, yes.
I guess.
Say, look up what those names mean,
Okay.
and you'll find, oh, they're actually Moorish names.
Okay.
To change their mindset
Is
on how they're viewing it.
on this.
Because the way we're viewing it, if I view the name that my family had as a European last name, I'm accepting that I was someone else's slave. That's what I'm accepting. But if I know that name means a translator of Latin, and you couldn't translate Latin unless you could read, then I know my family's not slaves. That's what needs to change. Your mind. Not the name, your mind.
Perspective.
Just like in the movie The Matrix with the little boy and the spoon.
Mhm.
He said,
It's not
if
the-
you stop trying to change the spoon and change your mind,
You see it.
you'll see it change.
He said, don't try to bend the spoon, but
Yeah.
that is impossible.
Yeah.
You only need to realize the truth.
Yes.
There is no spoon.
It's the I am.
Yes, that part crazy.
Are we clear on that?
Yes, thank you.
Are we sure?
Positive. I'm
I
sorry.
am crystal
Nah, don't be sorry.
on it.
Don't be full of
Crystal
sorrow.
clear on it.
So, this.
That was a good
I have a
session
question.
of clarity.
Yeah.
Yes.
When you're out there in that this world, this corporation, and you go to apply for a job,
Mhm.
a lot of Moors will find out when they're doing studying, they just be like, okay, they ask me if I'm a U.S. citizen. No. Then the next thing they ask, do you have a social security card?
Mhm.
How do you get past that?
Thank you.
I'll let the person who's actually done it speak on it.
So I recently got hired at a small corporation in my free national name. If they present you with certain paperwork, sometimes they'll present you with like a W-2. You'll say, I'm not filling that out, I'm actually a national, can I have an I-9? I can fill an I-9 out for you. So there's an I-9, it says your name, it says, it asks for your address. So I filled it out with my free national name. There is a space for your social security number, I wrote non-applicable, like NA. And then there's some boxes to check. There's a box that says foreign national of the United States, which is incorrect because we're not of the United States. If it said foreign nationals of America, it would be correct. But foreign national of the United States is incorrect. There's a box for alien, which we are alien to the United States government. So I checked the alien box and it asks for,
Alien just means foreigner. That's all it
Right.
means.
Yeah.
it asks for a number. So the number that we have,
Is
I remember when I was younger, they used to always say, oh, you're an alien. We used to think it's a bad thing.
Yeah.
I'm like, yes, look at my alien.
yeah.
And that's when they came up with that song, I'm an alien, I'm a good alien.
Yeah, fancy. Just
And I put in that number, AA222141, and that was it. No social.
So
and I just
on that
explained
document,
it.
it asks you for the United States citizenship and
Yes.
immigration services number.
Yes.
On the USCIS.gov website, it says those who have birthright citizenship have
The double A.
AA in front of their number. So we're telling you we're allodial Americans, AA, birthright citizens
Hey,
of America, yes, of America, right?
Triple A members.
22, which is Title 22 of the United States Code, right? Title 22. Chapter 2, which is dealing with foreign relations and consular court,
222.
141, which means they don't have jurisdiction over us. That's what we're saying. Get it?
Mm.
Right?
It's like an agent telling the principal, we know what you're doing.
And then just, I mean, if they want you to work for them, which if you're good at what you do, if you're good at what you're applying for, they're going to want you to work for them.
And I have it right here, just in case those who doubt
So.
what the hell I'm saying.
What is
Just give them a little history and explain to them I'm tax exempt and this is why.
It's gonna be backwards, I think.
It's your former job.
Your former job, you can do a W-4T, which
A W what now?
a W-4T, which terminates the original document that you signed with them.
Okay.
But a job or a place of employment, also, I'm sorry, just to go back to that.
Pass that around.
I got hired as an independent contractor, not as an employee. There's a difference between those two.
Yeah.
So go in as an independent contractor.
Right. So,
So you're
The
not
W-4T.
taxable
no, non-taxable.
because of the I-9, even as an independent contractor?
Because there's nothing to tax.
There's no social. I don't have one.
Because remember, they're taxing you via this. Because this has a social security number on it, which is the tax number.
My
So if you don't
freelancer
submit a
number.
tax number, how can they tax you? Get it? So it's passing around.
Sometimes they try to bring up things and say you need to pay tax because of things that you're doing.
Okay. If they say that, no taxation without representation. So who represents me within the United States government?
Mm.
If no one, then I'm not obligated to pay taxes. Because that was their motto in 1774.
That's true.
The W-4T, pretty much rescinds the document that you signed before, the W-2, or the previous W-4.
W4T terminates the W4.
W-4, yeah. So the place that you are applying for can still choose to hire or not hire. The place that you're already working for, if you wanna do that, they can either cancel your contract or they can continue to employ you. If they need you,
But then there's the problem of your checks.
yeah.
Because if they issue you a check at a bank that's not local to you, then you can't cash that check without opening up a bank account.
Mhm.
And then most banks demand that you produce a social security number and they won't accept your ID.
Mm-hmm.
So that's why the prophet said, leave all old business as it is, and conduct all new business in your free national name to avoid those problems.
Mhm.
Because now in our new allodial capacity, we're coming together. Hopefully we'll come together, go to City Hall and make change.
Mhm.
Then wake our people up on a state level, then go to the General Assembly and make change. And then since we have our people up on a state level, we can elect our own congressmen to make change on the federal level. So we need to go through levels first, but we have to comprehend that.
But it's, some banks that don't ask you for social security.
Well, you
Hold on,
can take
hold
the
on.
check.
Oh, good, I'll let you finish that, good?
You can take the check, so like, for example, some employers will, have it with Bank of America, that's who their payroll is from,
Mhm.
or with Citizens Bank. So you take that check in your free national name with your national ID to the bank, I just wanna cash this. You're not trying to open up an account, you have an ID with your name on it, you have the check with your free national name on it, so you should be able to cash it.
Did you bring the check?
If you can't cash it there, you can cash it, at a check cashing.
So, you stated that there are banks that allow this.
Yeah.
Check cashing places.
I'm
on,
saying prove it.
National IDs?
The reason why I'm saying prove it is because
It's
Moors have said
verification.
the Bank of America allows that.
Yeah,
Janae and I have
That's
been
a
to
lie.
Bank of America and they don't accept it.
yeah, so it's all
So
personal choice.
if you're gonna say it, prove
So
it.
all personal choice who's sitting behind that department. at the
Cause I went to
moment
Bank
that
of
you-
America
you
too and
signed.
they dubbed it.
And it's not just that, because I also went to Citizens Bank and on their computer, it doesn't allow you to fill out without giving them, it won't even allow the agent to go to the next page without forcing them to insert certain information.
Social.
You know what I'm saying? So remember, this system is deeper than the person sitting in front of you.
True.
Mhm.
Can we have our own banks?
If you want your own bank, teach your people.
Um,
That way, we can organize together,
Mhm.
galvanize, protect each other,
Mhm.
do commerce with each other, and then go to places like City Hall, the State House, and demand that all the businesses within that state that we're in allow us to do business with them without any adhesions or chicanery.
City Hall can do that for you?
No, state level.
Say that. Oh,
But I'm saying it starts with local government.
Yeah.
So it starts by us electing a representative to speak with us to speak with them on a municipal level.
Wouldn't that be like, what was his name, Kobe?
Kobe Dennis?
Yeah.
No, Kobe Dennis refers to himself as black, and I'm not black, so he can't speak for me.
Oh, that dude.
Yeah. You get it? Because if you look at the picture of Prophet Noble Drew Ali, he had Louis B. Anderson and Oscar the Priest sitting next to him. Louis B. Anderson was an alderman or a councilman for the city of Chicago. Oscar the Priest was a congressman for Illinois' 2nd Congressional District, speaking for Moors. Get it? They were Moors who can speak for Moors. Black people can't speak for Moors. But they're black. They're someone else's property. So if you're someone else's property, you can't even speak for yourself. So how can you speak for someone else? Get it?
And it contradicts Social Security because he said, United says supposed to be that if you give Social Security to a third party, you will be able to commit fraud. So you have to be able to protect.
It says it on the social card itself. You get it from the
Yeah,
office.
but there's federal regulations that state if any person or corporation or whatever is going to ask you for a social security number, they have to disclose to you which laws state that you have to submit them your social.
Yeah,
They also have to clarify if it's mandatory or voluntarily,
that's fine.
and
but
what they're going to do with it.
on the card itself, it says unless warranted by a judge, and they have to have a letter from
Yeah.
the judge. You don't gotta show no one your social.
Yeah.
Listen, I got one thing.
Yes.
What's today's number date?
Today is the
15.
12th day of Shaul. I'm not sure if I'm pronouncing that right. 1440. 15th of June.
All right. In 5 days, right? Can everybody come here? I just want y'all to witness GS Jamal nationalize me, do my paperwork. I want all y'all being witnesses.
Okay.
That'll be my birthday present.
Yeah, hey,
5 days.
June
5
20th.
days.
Yeah.
Gonna be a Saturday.
That's a Friday,
Is it? I don't know.
I think.
It's
No,
by Thursday.
it's Thursday.
Is it?
Oh yeah, the 21st is a Friday.
Happy birthday, brother.
Thank you.
Mine is on Tuesday.
He has office hours, so.
Oh, yeah.
Here, yeah.
This gonna be on Friday.
What day you said it was? The
Thursday.
12th day? No,
Oh, it's written in the book.
Can't do it on a
Oh,
Saturday.
so Morris.
I'll do a Saturday. Do it next class.
We can do Saturday.
We'll be here Thursday too, it's up to you, Thursday or Saturday. More people will be able to be here, yeah. More people will be able to be here on Saturday.
Yeah.
Everybody will be the witness.
So, any questions on the United States? And why you're not a citizen of it?
And which one?
Yeah, and which one?
So
Because
aren't we all
the Europeans,
citizens
hold
of-
on, the Europeans can only be state citizens. Meaning you can only be a citizen of the state of Rhode Island, or a citizen of the state of Massachusetts, or a citizen of the state of Delaware. You can't be a United States citizen.
Europeans.
Yes,
just to
Europeans.
clarify.
Yes, just to clarify, yes. The reason why you're recognized as a citizen if you're a citizen of Rhode Island in Massachusetts is because it says in the Constitution that full faith and credit shall be given to the United States, lowercase u. Meaning if your rights are recognized in Rhode Island, then they're going to be recognized in Massachusetts because they have a contractual agreement called the Constitution. That's what Moors are saying, you can only be state citizens. But again, if you're not a European, then you're not a citizen of the state of Rhode Island unless you naturalize by you agreeing. That's where this comes into play. But the prophet told you to nationalize. That's where that comes into play. Where you're no longer identified as this corporate thing for these Europeans to claim jurisdiction over you and destroy your life. You're beginning to separate from that. And since your land is colonized, you can't 100% separate from this yet. Because your people still don't know who they are. And your people are serving Rome. Because our people are the policemen. Right? Our people are the correctional officers, right? Right?
Correct.
Our people work for these people. So we can't say the European or the so-called white man's the devil, and then when we get locked up, it's someone that looks like just like us, banging on ourselves. So we start to realize that this problem is mental, not just the so-called European because he got pale skin, he's a bad person. Our people, some of our people, are the worst that exist.
There's the worst that exists inside of us sometimes.
Yeah.
Like
Okay.
I was trying to, when I did the thing, you know, with the new job, in my head at first, it's just like your subconscious trying to
Attack you.
because at first I'm like, oh my goodness, I'm not gonna be paying into TDI or Social Security. I'm not gonna have access to those benefits, but really, those aren't things given to you. You're paying into that, and they're giving it back to you, calling it a benefit.
So if you just put your
That
money
was yours
aside,
in the first place.
mm-hmm,
If you put your money aside, like, just continue to put it aside for years. Don't touch it.
Mhm.
Put it. There's a way you can, if you have a bank account, there's a way that you can transfer a certain amount of money every single week, even if it's $5. That's how much you pay into like TDI.
and even if you don't trust
changed.
yourself, right? Get a safe, hide it from everyone, and then give the key to someone else. So that way you can't even touch the money unless you go to someone else. But it's still your safe and only you know where it is. So if I have my safe and I hide it somewhere and I trust this man, I give him the key because I can't trust myself with my own money. So then I'm like, all right, if I want to get access to it, I got to go through him. You know what I'm saying?
If it's not,
So give me the key, then I'll go to my safe, do whatever I need to do, then exactly.
well, if it's not, you could be able to invest it. You don't really need a social
Right.
security fee, the boss.
Yeah. So there's different things that we can do with our finances. Then keep giving the European the power. Well, he's going to give me Social Security when I'm 60 and die at
First of
70.
all, you already know you're not even touching the Social Security money ever now.
Mhm.
So
By 2024, the social security is gonna be gone. By 2030, 24.
Yeah, House
There's no
Resolution
money
25.
for us anyway.
House Resolution 25.
Yeah.
So you're here to learn the difference. That's it. So that you can make better decisions in your life. And then hopefully, one day, we can come together and actually not have to be dependent on these Europeans. Because I don't care how holy moly macaroni, what title you have, the Moorish nation at this present time is not independent. It is not. And I don't care how mighty Morphin Power Ranger you think you are in your head. Do you own your own house? No. Our people are not independent right now. We have to realize that. If we don't, we're going to be stuck in delusions our whole lives. And it's saying that ancestors are doing this for me. And the God is doing that for me. While you sit home and do absolutely nothing. And our situation never changes. So when you see our people saying, oh, we got this, check them. Because every single one of us are using Federal Reserve notes.
Every single one.
What about that says we're independent?
Absolutely not.
Nothing. Every single one of us either pays rent, has a mortgage, or lives in Section 8. None of us have title to our homes.
No.
So what about that says independence? The Federal Reserve note that we're using don't even have our prophet's face on it.
Let alone
Or no one that looks like us. So how are we independent?
Well, they did want to give us that Rosa Parks, but
They feed you, you still go buy packaged food
we're
from them.
worthless.
They dress you, still put clothes on us.
Yeah.
There's no independence.
We still
there.
dress like them.
Still
You don't
dress
see
like them.
Moors with pantaloons out there.
Nope.
You don't see half our
My
people with
pantaloons
this.
actually
And this is
getting deep.
their headdress. This is our
Oh
people's
my
headdress.
God, I just
Let-
want to
well, I
address
just
that
got
for
some
a
white
second,
ones.
please.
Go ahead. Hold on. Good.
So many people say that Moors are, they want to be related with these people from, they're not even part of our people. They're trying to take us away from Africa. That's a big, huge thing because
It is.
because we talk about how not all of the Moors came from Africa. It doesn't mean your roots still don't come from Africa. Moors are from Northwest Africa. Africa is a continent, not a country.
And
So-
America was part of Africa.
So just because we're saying that you're Moorish, you're not African American, does not mean that you don't have African roots.
Yeah.
Moors are from Northwest Africa.
Look it up.
That's it.
Google it.
That's all I
Those are
wanted
the
to
most
say.
emotional
Not
ones
far
who
East
are-
African, but like mid-East African versus Western African.
Yeah, but even again, back to Pangea,
Yeah.
the continents were all one.
Yeah.
Mhm.
So all of it was Africa.
Mhm.
So we're not saying we're not African, and we're not saying we're not American.
For the modern term,
Yes.
it would be Western African.
Yes.
Yes.
And then even if you look, never mind, because people already get confused. So let me just stop.
Don't even.
Let me just not take it to the next level because people did. All right. We are the Aboriginal people of the planet. When you say more, that's what you're saying.
Mhm. When you look up the word Aboriginal, you get the word autochthon out of it. The word autochthon literally means, the definition, etymology.com says literally, those sprung from the soil. It don't get no more defined than that. So it's like, oh, mom, another one of the people just popped out. It's another one. It's popping out the soil. So
Yeah,
like, we would be original. We would be original, sprung from the dirt.
So,
Aboriginals with family.
again, to take it back to this. Most of our people think that the United States is a country, right?
Mm-hmm.
The word country means land. But then when you look up the United States codes, they'll tell you they're a corporation, meaning they're an organization of various pale-skinned people who organized and refer to themselves as this. So, are you a part of that? No. Why? Because you're not a pale-skinned European, and you're not part of their organization.
Correct.
Right? And all these different benefits are stemming from this organization. And then in order to receive those benefits, you have to submit to what they say you have to submit to. What about that says sovereignty? So our salvation lies within us knowing the difference between this, these two, this right here, this, that, and this. These people should be united. Once our states are united, then yes, we're part of the United States of this. The United States of Morocco. The United Moroccan States. So you're clarifying the noun. Moroccans or Moors. Right?
We're not saying you're not African, we're not saying you're not American, we're saying you're not black.
Yes. And don't believe these idiots who say black is an ancient Egyptian word. And then they spell it with vowels. Don't believe them. An ancient Egyptian word.
Yeah.
And then you see them add vowels to it. Because in the Medu Neter, there were no vowels.
Nope.
So don't let these people play you.
What about black from the original, the source, the Allah?
So now you are confused with the difference between darkness and blackness.
Mm-hmm.
Darkness is the absence of light. Close your eyes.
The void.
That's dark, not black.
Nothing in nature is
Black.
the color black. Nothing. It's either dark purple, blue, or brown.
Yeah.
So what they're saying, everything came from
Darkness,
darkness,
not blackness.
Mm-hmm.
That's not rooted from nation.
No.
Black is a colored thing, painted. This
Yes.
table's
Anything black is artificial. So when you see this
Like
color
those
on the table, that's
Asian and
artificial.
Islam people, that's their go-to when they're trying to safeguard their people. to
Yeah, but-
confuse them,
but,
simulate-
hold on. People like Louis Farrakhan, people like
Yeah.
Rizza Islam.
Yeah, all those.
Hold on, don't suck your teeth yet. People like Rizza Islam, people like Khalid Muhammad, all of them have told our people that we're Moors. So they said it. They know. But then they promote the black thing because that's what gets them money.
Yeah.
What did you say?
Rizza Islam.
Yeah, Rizza.
Ronnie Rizza Islam.
You don't know him? He's from.
Oh yeah, Ben X too. Yeah, Ben X too.
He's part of.
I'm gonna be on a panel with them in July.
They learned from the Bible.
All these people,
Don't speak about it.
all of these people know that they're Moors. The problem is for them is they don't get money by teaching our people that they're Moors.
Yeah, they're gonna spew that during that event, and then
course.
they're gonna say that same line to confuse people.
Of course, but that's why I'm there to just give the truth.
That's why we gonna be there.
Just ask them a question.
Ben X did a whole like skit on we're not black, we're Moors, and he was talking to himself on the phone, and he was two different characters.
Next month,
Yeah.
22nd.
So,
I've already. took
are we
the time off.
citizens of the United States?
For the exam.
Oh,
Are we citizens of the United States?
no.
Absolutely not.
Are we citizens of America?
Hold on. Which United States are we citizens of?
Morocco,
The organic.
no,
Where's Morocco?
here,
Right.
North America.
Northwest Maxim,
What is Amexem modernly called?
more,
North America. Who are the Moroccan states?
Actually, the people.
Say it again.
We are
Who's we?
the people.
Which people?
Coppertone.
The Coppertone people.
Coppertone.
Get it?
Yes, sir.
So if we're going to rise as a people, we have to organize as a people. We have to tell our people all the way on the different so-called states that you are Moors, not part of this European Union. So organize your people so we can organize our people and do business together.
You need to shed the light over here so that the light can be seen on that side.
Yeah,
Because whatever light shines here, it shines over there.
yeah.
And once we the Moors wake up here, there's a reason of the sleeping giants on the other side waking up. They have a reason.
Mm-hmm.
Right now they're reluctant. Oh yeah, even, those blacks in America, they're not doing anything. It's all about cheating, banging,
Yeah.
and deflossing. And that's what exactly, if you look in the whole continent of Tamore, is doing exactly the Coppertone people are doing here.
Yep.
So when we wake up.
Because we're the parent. That's why our fez is bigger.
Ain't that something? When we wake up, they wake up.
Yep.
Anyways,
Big old facts. But the problem with us here is we have the attention span of a fish. We'll do something good once in a while, and then we'll go back to our lower self. Look at these Europeans. They don't miss a day in government. Why? Because it's government. And they know as long as they put energy into that, they're going to have power over us.
yes.
the whole continent, the whole world, the whole everything.
You get it? They see that they have an interest in government and ruling over our people, so they maintain that. And they do everything and anything within their power to maintain that. What do? We say we're Moors on camera and then stay at home and do nothing. Don't even teach our people.
I don't like people who wear Jamaican shirts.
What?
I don't like people who wear Jamaican.
Yep.
I'd rather be.
Or on one hand, our people will say, we're the original black man of the planet and all the nations come from us. And then they'll say, we don't want any Latinos and Spanish people coming to our black events. How does that make sense?
It doesn't.
So you're the original, everyone comes from you, but you're going to exclude people who are willing to help you. And they're Moors too. How does that make sense? You get why the prophet said we fall into the utter darkness of sin? Because we're self-arrogant. We think we're the best at everything and we can't even read. We know everything about the structure of sporting events but don't know shit about government. We know everything about makeup but don't know shit about government. We know everything about who's sleeping with who and Cardi B's life and...
We don't know shit about
I'm about to say that's a Raven.
What
is that?
that?
Flavor of love and...
Wow, it's been a while since you've watched TV.
That's so Raven.
That's so irrelevant, I
I haven't watched TV in a long time.
Dang.
Oh, Empire. Empire's one. We know everything about power and Game of Thrones. All the characters, their backstories. Harry Potter. We know about the Slytherin. We speak Snape and all that shit.
We speak
You know what's
Snake.
interesting?
But we know nothing about government.
I think
The
Game
Slytherin,
of-
I think. What is it?
Game of Thrones is
No, it's
based off-
Parseltongue.
Yeah, Parseltongue.
Game of Thrones is based off of Queen Khalifa.
Is
I
it?
think so, yeah.
I know that.
And if you watch it, I think you would agree. It's based off of Queen Khalifa and what she did with the slaves across America and
Yeah.
how she went back over there to conquer and all
I'm
that.
sorry, can you repeat
So
that?
California,
California is
Queen Khalifa is where California was named from. She was a female ruler. And if you look up Queen Khalifa, you'll see pictures of her actually in California. So they have her there. They don't even hide it.
Mhm.
But they know our people don't know shit about their own history.
Yeah, and they put a mulatto woman to play Khaleesi in the thing, so throw your mind off even more.
Yeah.
It couldn't be us.
So, yeah. And then
She's more
you see that map right there
tone.
that we have posted? All of that's Mexico.
Yeah.
So all of California is Mexico. All of it.
1844, man.
Yeah. And then in the treaty of between the Republic of Mexico and the Republic of the United States, it says Mexicans have right to be there, to the land in all those areas.
Texas, California,
But they'll put in the media, we gotta deport them.
Yeah.
That's them implementing their crusades and inquisition against our people to divide us.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? So they have us thinking we're U.S. citizens, we're pro America, bacon and cheeseburger sandwiches and
Who says cheeseburger?
big old trucks. Shut up! Big old cheeseburgers. And then so now we have the mindset of them that they're promoting. So now everything else that they promote, which is going to go along with it. Oh, they're stealing our jobs. Meanwhile, it's the European putting us in this position, but we can afford crap, but they're blaming it on someone else.
Yeah,
Mhm.
It's the scapegoat.
Yeah.
So we have to understand this dynamic that we're in.
They had only so much to be able to do plantations. That's the reason they were trying to use Commerce too over there. That's the
Where?
only agreement that they had.
Where?
In the Mexican border,
Oh.
they wanted to use extra. That's
Yeah.
the treaty that they did, but they had the right to be able to be there.
Yeah.
And a lot of people don't know that.
Yeah. Because a lot of us don't know who we are.
That's the reason why they didn't want to put the border. Congress didn't want to.
They can't put a border up. Look at Mexico. They know that. But what they do is they put stuff like that in all of our minds to cause division amongst us.
It's the placebo effect.
Yes, which keeps them in power. They know they ain't building no wall to cover all of that.
Tell them to build a wall in Canada. Because that's their people over there too.
No, that's Canaan land. That's Moorish land too.
I know, but they think that's European land too.
Yeah.
That's the reason they don't want to tag it. But we think otherwise.
So, any questions on this?
I'm actually glad you did this because I was always confused on who's the major and who's the minor. But
Yeah.
now it's crystal
So,
clear.
these several states elected congressmen. Those congressmen refer to themselves as the United States. That's the minor. These several states, these several colonies, elected amongst themselves different human beings to represent their individual states collectively.
Europeans got government from
Minor. The major is the
Islamic
colonies,
government.
right?
The
But
Constitution
organic
came
land
from
is
the
America.
Iroquois Confederation.
So none of those are us.
No. That's the point.
So why everybody keep posting that old school prophet ID card, Moorish ID card
Stop.
that says,
Now, hold on. I know what you're saying. Everyone got this?
yeah,
You sure?
I got it.
Because I'm about to explain that BS to you, right?
Mm-hmm.
So what is that 10 by 10 DC? It is
Oh,
in
that's
front of
not
someone.
the
Yes.
That's the jurisdiction of Congress.
Yeah.
Excuse me, of the United States.
That's how big they are over there in DC.
Sorry.
Yeah, that's when they enact laws, it only applies there.
That's it. I don't know.
What?
But yes.
Yeah.
Because remember, they're inquisitionists. So it
They-
really only applies there. But since all the governors of every state is part of the conspiracy, they're enforcing it. And then since we think we're part of that, we're abiding by it.
So that's when you watch all those movies and they talk about a shadow government. They're just spreading. That's that. So they got several square miles in Washington D.C.
So
But
brother John,
we all think that
before you
this is
jump
it. This is
onto
the United
that,
States.
Because I know you're gonna
That's
jump
not
into
it.
it and tear it apart. I just
Literally,
have
you
a
can
question.
visit them
I'm
and
sorry.
go see the
Is it
United
true
3-4 buildings.
that, you know
That's the
how
whole thing.
in
10
the
miles or
United
10 miles,
States
that's
of
how big it is.
America, how they say
But we are
7
Americans,
people
Americans.
determine
We
who
allow
gets
them
to sit in the presidential seat, 7 electoral votes. Is it true it's only 3 electoral votes that determine the president, and as these 3 electoral votes actually do sit in the House of Europe, in the European land? Is it true?
I cannot speak on that because I don't know. But what I do know
Yes.
is that according to the Constitution, there's supposed to be an electoral college,
Mm-hmm.
and every state of the union has the same amount of electors as congressmen. So the electoral college is really the people that elect the president.
Yes, that's.
That's how it's supposed to be.
Mm-hmm.
And are they 7? And should they be 7?
Well, like I said, I can't speak on that because I don't know. But according to the Constitution, how it's supposed to be
Yes.
is depending on, all right, so Rhode Island has 4 congressmen, 2 senators, 2 representatives. Every state of the European Union has 2 senators.
Mm-hmm.
They have representatives according to the population.
Mm-hmm.
So some states have more representatives, you know, because Rhode Island's smaller, so we only have 2. California has, I think, 55.
Mm-hmm.
So since there's 4 congressmen in the state of Rhode Island, there's gonna be 4 electors part of the electoral college.
Mm-hmm.
So now, if someone wants to be president, they'll come here, depending on the popular vote of the citizens, those electors are gonna vote on behalf of the citizens, or who wins the popular vote.
As an example,
So it kind of trickles down, so it's a more precise vote, constitutional.
when Hillary Clinton and Donald Trump were running for president, Hillary Clinton won the popular vote of all of the United States citizens. She won those votes.
Yes.
But Donald Trump,
On the electoral college.
yes, and that's how he was able to win the presidency.
But
So
now
it doesn't
again,
matter how many people voted for Donald Trump, it was how many of the electoral people in the electoral college voting for Donald Trump.
Okay, that's what I'm saying, the electoral vote, the electoral.
There's more than
college
7
vote.
people.
Okay.
And that, but I can't say I know what you're talking about, but I have an idea on what you're talking about. You're talking about the real, actual shadow government, the people that pull the strings. Like I said, I can't speak on that.
Okay.
That's why I'm telling you.
So that means.
I'm always gonna tell you what I don't know, because I'm not gonna start making shit up, because that gets us nowhere.
So that means people vote.
For name correction and proclamation
What she
papers,
said, right? When she said
go
vote.
to
So now I vote.
riseofthemoors.org, download
Why
it,
we vote?
print them
But
out,
hold on.
have people sign them as witnesses, and then you can mail it in to this location.
They go voting to be able
But
to
they need
put it into
witnesses.
a jurisdiction of a slavery anyways. And then they know whoever's on the bench, those 7 voters, or whoever feels like inside of the representative, the elector, they're going to represent whoever the people don't like, no matter what.
Yeah.
The only price being charged is for the signature and the seals. The papers you can download for free on the website, but anywhere that you send those papers to, whether it be Arribe or the Moorish American Consulate, you will still have to pay a small fee.
Oh, the phone, right? I know. Yo, it's so real when I try to keep it in the bedroom at night, man. I be missing a lot of calls. I be trying to get that thing away from me.
Let's say 50 representatives for Texas, 50 representatives for California. If you win those popular votes, regardless if there's 2 million or 20 million people in this state that voted for you, if you have the popular vote from the elected officials, then you will win the election.
So, the popular votes.
Yeah.
If you're doing it in front of him, he can be your witness, but if not, no.
For the.
Yeah, but that's the most effective.
Yeah.
That's how it's supposed to be.
Because the 20 people elected these 55 officials, and those 55 officials voted for Trump here, and then they also voted for Trump as well, so he's gonna win.
So, but wait, they get these numbers, right? And the popular votes are from the electorals. What
No, the popular vote is from the population.
The people.
Population,
Mhm.
the numbers, yeah.
But
they narrow it down
to the electoral college,
electoral colleges.
These are the
whose
same.
decision will most likely be based on the popular vote to be more effective.
Election.
Yes, because remember, the democracy deals with the principle of a demigod, someone who uses biases and so-called racism to win the popular vote. You know what I'm saying? To divide people. That's how they do things. So they implement certain things into the minds of the people to get them to vote for certain people. You know what I'm saying? So they did the whole thing about Hillary Clinton leaking the emails, so she loses the popular vote. because they really want Trump in there anyway. You know what I'm saying?
You know
So
what
that's
they-
how they're doing it.
They're doing it right now. They wanna do, now Donald Trump said that he wants to be able to put an investigation of everybody who's being elected for presidency.
Yeah.
From now, when they
Yeah.
took over his arm, to be able to have a FBI, investigation from every president. Said that if you have any dirt, they could be able to.
Because he knows that these people are inquisitionists and they overthrew the republic and he's trying to bring it back. That's why he's doing it. Not because he's a good guy. You know what I'm saying? It's because nature is making this happen. And the only way to succeed is to be one with nature. They're not fighting themselves to be good. They're fighting amongst themselves to maintain power. That's what they're doing. Not to be good. So although it may seem like they're doing good things, it's really to keep themselves in power. As an example, the so-called black guy from the Morehouse, historically black college and university, paid $4 million in tuition fees, right? Paid. Is that real money, yes or no?
No.
So what did he pay?
Nothing.
Absolutely nothing. But, since they know the people don't know that, he seems like a good guy now. Right? Which sets him up later to be in a political office. You get it? Because it's not real money. It's not real debt. So they do things like that because they know the people don't know.
I would say it was real debt. They owe.
It's not real debt.
They owe. Who owes?
No, they're forcing it on the people, but it ain't real debt.
Well, the people don't owe. They owe the people.
Yes.
Yeah, but they don't,
Go.
they don't, to us, we don't think they have any debt. All the debt seems to be on us.
Yeah.
So it's not real debt.
Alright, so now, back to the nationality card.
Oh, yeah.
Right. On these nationality cards that they're showing people, look at the top right corner.
I saw that.
Are you sure?
Did that, yeah. I was gonna be comments on
The nationality cards that say, that they claim that the prophet issued, say, I'm a citizen of the United States. But then they have this date on it. When did the prophet die? So how did he issue these when these are dealing with the 40s? So in the blank, it'll say 41, 42,
Yeah.
all the way up to 49. So how did he issue these if he died in 1929?
Forgery.
And then
That's exactly what it is.
you'll see from this point up to here,
Mm.
1929. FBI investigation.
And then
So
the
what?
Nation of Islam.
That-
LOL. It's funny how they mention the prophet, even though, you know,
on their Savior's Day, they had Noble Drew Ali right in the middle.
they
Why would
never
they not
talk
have
about
Fard
him. They
Muhammad
don't
in the
teach
middle?
about him. Well, didn't they, when they started, didn't they claim that, what's his name was now the prophet?
Fard Muhammad.
Yeah.
Yeah, but they call him messenger.
Hmm.
And then
But they took what Prophet
They
Noble
took
Drew
Drew Ali's
Ali's,
title,
yeah.
gave it to a man
They
who
used to
learned
be
from
part.
Drew Ali.
They used to be a part of his organization,
Yeah.
the Nation of Islam. They took when he died and pretty much a coup started. You know, the driver said he was the prophet. Then they were calling somebody else the prophet. So they just they took a section of themselves and separated themselves and pretty much were just being Uncle Toms and probably
Yeah.
helped the FBI.
So when you do research on Elijah Muhammad, he's really Elijah Poole Bey, not Elijah Muhammad, not the messenger. Elijah Poole Bey. Don't believe me?
Same guy?
Yeah, same guy. Yeah. Different title. One says he's a Moor. One you know he's a Moor. One he's a black Muslim. So he's using the black Muslim name.
And they
Elijah
went back to
Muhammad,
saying black, black,
to
black.
suppress the black people
Because
who are
they
really
weren't
Moors.
saying that under Noble Drew Ali. They were not calling themselves black. Then when they became the Nation of Islam, black, black, black. And then here, Jesse Jackson, African American.
Dr. Sebi says he's out of all of the black people, a lot of the black people he went to see.
He talked
Eli-
with the
the
messenger.
Honorable Elijah Muhammad was one of the only messengers he ate in his house, and he didn't cook pork.
If you look up more videos on Dr. Sebi, you will see a video where he mentions Noble Drew Ali.
Yeah, I did see that.
Don't believe me, look it up.
Yeah, I did see it.
He mentioned him. I bled out all of Dr. Sebi.
Mhm. Then watch Louis Farrakhan, and he'll say Elijah Muhammad mentioned Noble Drew Ali as one of the first people to teach Islam in America, because he is. Huh?
He said that they had a speech recently.
I'm not sure.
Dr.
Yeah, I
Malachi
saw
York
it. I
said
saw that.
something.
Yeah, he said. I
And
saw it.
Dr. Malachi Z. York, in his book,
I saw it.
The Nuwapian Nation of Moors.
Right. I could explain, because I used to roll with the New Options.
Yeah.
If you look at Dr. Malachi Z. York, he put out what he called scrolls. All his scrolls are paperback, just like prophets. Right? When you go to the Circle 7, Holy Quran is the only one that's hardcover. And in there he gives tribute to Prophet Noble Drew Ali. So all Nuwapians know they're Moors. The only problem is they keep on calling themselves Nuwapians. What is that?
They're letting him rot in jail, and they're letting the alleged charges be put on him and letting him rot in jail.
Hmm. Instead of doing something about it.
You feel me what I'm saying? Because he went in there knowing he was a Moor.
Hmm.
He teaching you that
In
you-
court, and he had a fez on.
Yeah, yo. When Dr. Malachi Z. York came out, that's when you got what's his name? I used to work there. The ex-claim. You never caught that? The feds? And that's when we started cut. We took off our feds, and when you take off your feds and you have a big old Michael Jackson afro, what do you have? You have Kid and Play haircut. That was all. We was
Flat top.
then we just got black again. More negative, you know what I'm saying? Like we got blue crab outside.
You go to,
And
you go
there was an elder in New York, Atiba Bay.
Hmm.
Excuse me, Atiba Day. I don't know how old he is. He's way older than me, though. I'll tell you that.
Hmm.
He was saying how back in his day, if you called them black, our people, they were fighting.
Right.
Yeah.
It's disrespectful. You can't call an Asian person yellow without getting judo chopped or something.
That's actually in 101 Facts About the Negro.
Yeah, because when I was down in Florida, they used to call us Geechees, and I used to be, I don't know what a Geechee is. You eat a lot of rice. No, I don't eat a lot of rice. I eat fish and grits, bro. You know what I'm saying? So it's like
What were they calling you?
Geechees.
Well, Geechees are from an island off of the Carolinas where they are Moors. They're like Aboriginal people.
See that?
Don't call me names, though.
It's like, no.
And now that I
Now
know
you
I'm
know.
not black, I'm like, really don't call me that because
Do
I'm
you-
not pale.
They're using a thing to be able to use it as a identifier.
Yeah, so
And that's
it's-
not-
The gullas and the
not
Geechees,
able
yes.
to be-
Thank
But
you.
not for good, because the
Yeah.
person on the other end, man, I get you with one hit.
Yeah,
This is good. You know what I'm saying? You can't do like me, but you know. So now it's like, wow, how do I contain all that stuff that I used to give me drive and then go back to the people?
Yeah.
You know? Cause I be out there talking. You're like, yo, how can you break down the windows of mine so good? Cause we're all talking, you don't see it.
All right. So now, remember about the United States, 1861?
Oh, we're going to the ID thing?
Right.
So 1871.
They assassinated-
False. Because the ID thing was, you didn't answer my question.
What do you mean? I just
Yeah, but I know that the cards are fake, but why did they say?
Yeah.
My question was the U.S. citizen part of it.
It's fake.
No, I know, but they had it said,
So what are you guessing?
it said the U.S. citizen, I think the second one on the card. When it was like US
Alright.
citizen. No, I know it's all fake, but I was just like.
Yeah. You can't say the prophet issued it if it doesn't fall within the dates when he was alive.
Mm-hmm.
that tells you it's fake. So you don't
Right.
need to address anything on it.
How did he issue something after his death date?
You get it? So now, the Inquisitionists overthrew the Republic of the United States, 1861. Abraham Lincoln found out about it. Civil War broke out, 1862. They assassinated Abraham Lincoln, 1865. Because Abraham Lincoln established the Bureau of Refugees, Abandoned Land, and Freedmen, which is modernly the rights of indigenous people. Yes,
Not yet, no.
right? So they assassinated him in 1865. They then created the fake 14th Amendment and lied and said it was ratified 1868. That was used to now teach the descendants of the Moors who think that they're black after a series of wars and lost connection with their Moorish history, to now teach them that they're citizens of the United States, that's now overthrown and ruled by the popes of Rome. Right? So that colorable or fake legislation is what is used to get us to think we're citizens of their BS, which is how they're ruling over us. So we cannot be citizens of the United States. They're saying that the 14th Amendment is what reversed the decision of the Dred Scott case, which said blacks cannot be citizens, or it was not intended for blacks to be citizens of the several states.
Or any person.
Because of the
who's
relationship between the Moors and the European Union. We cannot be citizens of that. You get it? So they're telling you you can't be citizens, but they're just calling you black. But you're really not black, you're Moors, which is the real reason why you can't be U.S. citizens. Tracking? If you don't know, now you know. So do more research on that so you can have a clearer comprehension in your mind. A lot of what they're saying is to just put the idea in your mind. That is it. That doesn't make it true. Get it?
He said, emancipate yourself from mental slavery.
Yeah, they vote. 7 people voted against it.
Against what?
Dred Scott versus Stanford.
What do you mean?
That no black descendant can be able to become a citizen of the United States.
You can't.
I know they cannot. That's why they voted. They voted against it.
Mhm.
The Europeans inside of the House of Representatives and all this
Because
stuff. Congress.
remember at that time, they
They were
already
Europeans.
infiltrated the Union.
Mm-hmm.
So they're trying to maintain or perpetrate the Inquisition against our people. It wasn't just a, oh, y'all are black now. It's a series of wars.
So we became black when they got their independence in 1774.
Basically. We started calling ourselves black.
Mm-hmm.
We started taking on those things for benefit.
Wasn't the white man called black? What black man was?
Yeah.
Well,
The so-called white man
When,
is the real black man, yes.
you only realize that when you start looking at the Eddymon and you go into that word black and it starts saying 1100 to 1500 and you're like, man, the Pilgrims came over here when? Oh shoot, they was the black people in the chains. It just clicks in your head like that because you start to see black as pale and shiny. You think of black people came in on chains on ships. The Mayflower. It just clicks like that. And then all of a sudden you look at yourself and you're like, I'm not black. I never came on no slave ship. It's just that simple.
It is that simple.
But we make it harder. You know what I'm saying?
It gets complicated when you start talking about the political stuff. Like the difference between the United States, uppercase U, lowercase u, the democracy, 1861, 1871. But those are used as reference points so you can see the political operations of how we've been tricked. But you have to see that, see what they're saying, and then see what was actually written. You get what I'm saying?
You know the
That's
political.
where the confusion comes into play.
You know municipality was started from us
Yes.
in 1031
Yes.
from Granada, and that's the reason why Isabella and Ferdinand went over there and burned all the books and hit some of them to be able to like learn how to colonize themselves to the new world because they knew, or us, we navigating the sea, we were charging taxes on the sea for the European to go to India. That's the reason why they they chose Cristobal Columbus, and Cristobal Columbus never drove a boat. He was never a captain. And they captured Muhammad. He was surrendered himself to Isabella and Ferdinand to be able to free our Moors on the sea. They was like, don't do anything to us, to our people. And we're the one to navigate the Europeans to the New World and show them while we was out here. And that's the reason why they colonized and so the municipality all the way from it was 877 all the way to 1031.
Look it up.
I asked a European one day, out of any natural resource, what does Europe produce? So, and they was like, so does it have gold? Because the world works off of gold, So where did Julius Caesar get his gold from? They was like, you know what I'm saying? Like, I had to bought it. I don't want to say it, but I had to buy the jewels.
The gold?
Europe never produced anything.
No. Europeans, when Cristobal Columbus came in, they said supposed to give mirrors against with gold, right? And they landed in Santo Domingo. It was in Haiti. It was Puerto Principe, the called now. And the Inquisition is still out there because if you see Los Diablos Cajuelos, is pretty much is a culture of a festival. 27 de febrero. They have this big ass horrible mass, and then they have mirrors on it. And there were the Inquisitions pretty much with whips to be able to whip the slaves. And that's how you could be able to find the definition of them being there and the reason why we speak Spanish. That's how crazy it is. They were given gold, and that's evidence into our roots that we could be able to post it out there.
Take your phone down. Look up Spanish Inquisition priesthood. And you'll see the same uniform that the Spaniards used during the Inquisition is the same uniform of the Ku Klux Klan. And the Grand Dragon.
He has a
They
picture of it.
still wear.
You have a picture of it in one of your books.
Oh, yeah, you do.
I have it in my
I think
new-
it's his first book. Is it over there?
I have it in my
I can
new,
show her.
what's it called? What's it called? My new stuff.
Your new book?
The new stuff that I'm doing, the classics.
Oh, yes. Yeah,
I
let
don't
me
know
see.
where it is. I
Let me see, Leonidas. Please.
I have a lot of stuff everywhere, so it's kind of hard to remember. But
I remember.
yeah, if you look up Google Spanish Inquisition priesthood, HOOD, and then the KKK, you see the same uniform. So they're telling you they're the Inquisitionists, but they know you don't know the history. That's my point.
So they're the same family with the Knight Templars?
Yes.
Do they want us to believe that they possess the Ark of the Covenant? Or
The Ark of the Covenant is the womb of woman. It's not an actual cup.
No, we know it's not a chalice.
The Ark
Of the covenant.
Of the Covenant.
of the covenant, the agreement is the sperm.
You come at your
egg.
wife, right?
That's the covenant. It's the science of the womb. That's why on their feathers they have the crescent moon, which represents the womb, the woman, which is the mind of the woman, the sword through it, you suppress her mind, you suppress the womb, you suppress the man, you suppress the nation. Because the men are supposed to be her protectors.
And you think we have all that stuff to learn and then teach the people,
Nope. Once the women get it,
then they're safe.
the children get it. So if we really about it, we would be reproducing with the healthy women and raising our armies. That's what the Europeans are doing.
True.
But guess what they do to us? Planned Parenthood. Tire tubes. Get vaccinated. Here's this depot.
Government cheese.
Yeah. They're suppressing our military by suppressing the manufacturer, which is you.
Is this one or the second one?
All of our women.
You know that I've seen those?
That's what it is.
That's
Do you know how that battle is?
that's
Yeah.
them, right?
Yeah, that's them. Yeah.
I seen them in
Oh, yeah.
they call it Faro Colón, is a castle for Cristobal Columbus,
Mm-hmm.
and then they have those as evidence. They have those exactly the same, and then they have the knights too with the swords and everything, because supposedly they have some pieces of him over there, because that's in the position.
Say
The
pieces?
picture with
Pieces of his body
more,
buried
the
there.
two skinheads in the picture, like they're like laughing and drinking beers and.
No, I mean, there's a lot of pictures of these Europeans hanging our people and laughing and stuff.
No. There's a more. Chilling with the Euros. And they got the swastika on it. So like, you're the fearmongers and you got a Moor with the fez on, chilling, drinking a beer.
I never seen that.
It was rolling around the internet. I was like, wait a minute, what's this? Like,
A lot of, they produce a lot of that stuff for propaganda.
I mean, white supremacists, maybe, I don't know, people do things as individuals that, you know, you just can't, nobody's trying to control anybody, but people do weird things, but white supremacists or skinheads or whatever, a lot of them practice nationalism because they know they're dying.
oh yeah.
So if somebody else is practicing nationalism and Europeans are practicing nationalism, they can get together and talk about how it's important and why.
And we can do the same.
Yeah.
So when you see that so-called white nationalism, that's them raising their army.
Mm-hmm.
And then you'll see them bringing their children to the courthouse and teaching them how to rule over the niggers and keeping them in positions of rulership. We're the only ones not doing it. Because we want to drink, smoke, twerk, and watch sports, play video games.
And you know the worst part of it is that when I landed in this country, 2001, so I found my male cousins dating Caucasian women, and I believe one chick, because she really didn't want, you could tell she was feeling so much uncomfortable in her skin, and she really wanted to be married in our family. And she said, these white girls that you see here, in their homes, as they grow up, they are being taught on how to destroy our children.
Mm.
They are practically taught how to seduce our children so that they can fall in love and then destroy them.
Mm.
And then come around and start saying, this person did that to me, that person did that to me, or we'll take the children away from you. So in what you are saying, it's true. They take them to the government. They studied in their own homes, even before we see them now out there.
Yes.
So in the house is actually training, where they're teaching our children this and that. They are being taught.
Yeah.
As a woman, this is your agenda. That is the war we are fighting.
Yes. So now,
Thank you.
Jesus and Muhammad are one and the same. Jesus came and he ruled with love. Muhammad came and cut the heads off of Rome in 1453, and he ruled with a sword.
Mm.
The mission was the same.
True.
The tools were different. In the Quran, it says, fight in the name of Allah those who fight you. I always mess this word up. Talmud and oppression are worse than death. Here's what it says in the Bible.
I was saying Talmud because I thought you were talking about the New Testament.
No.
I mean the Old Testament,
This word.
excuse me.
Talmud.
Oh.
Talmud and oppression.
Tumult. So
Yeah.
It's worse than oppression. Excuse me. That and oppression is worse than death.
Mm-hmm.
It's like turmoil.
Yes.
Yeah, I thought he was saying like the book.
Yeah, that's what I thought he was talking about too. That's why I said that word.
In the Quran. This is what it says in the Bible. This is Ecclesiastes chapter 3. To everything there is a season, and a time to every purpose under the sun. A time to be born, and a time to die. A time to plant, and a time to pluck up that which has been planted. A time to kill and a time to heal. A time to break down and a time to build up. A time to weep and a time to laugh. A time to mourn and a time to dance. A time to cast away stones and a time to gather stones together. A time to embrace and a time to refrain from embracing. A time to get and a time to lose. A time to keep and a time to cast away. A time to rend and a time to sow. A time to keep silence and a time to speak. A time to love and a time to hate. A time of war and a time of peace. What are they implementing against us right now? It's called the silent weapon for quiet wars. So we're at war right now. So how about we get ready? So with that being said, my point is, the first prophet, Drew Ali, came for love. And he said, if certain principles weren't carried out by his people, there's a great and awful day that is sure to come. Are we tracking?
Mm-hmm.
Are we sure?
Thank you.
Are we positive? Then when you read the mysteries of the silent brotherhood of the East, you'll see that Yeshua said, in order for peace to come, there must be strife. Because during times of peace, people are stagnant and nothing happens. But during times of war,
People get moving.
people get moving.
You become very active.
So, although that great awful day is sure to come, it will mean victory for the Moors. So since that day is coming, why don't we just get ready for it? And with that, say peace.